Yo, 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 yo.
It seems like it was yesterday
It was.
that
Dark and gloomy morning.
we recorded another episode.
We did.
But it has been 3 weeks. Welcome back to Lodge. It's been a minute. Jeff and I have been busy. You know, Jeff just decided to go to Iceland because he was a little warm.
Yeah.
He's like, might as well get a little bit of like, might as well keep that winter going for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then I went someplace just as exotic, Michigan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was just exactly the same. Before I came back, and then went to Dubai, which that was okay. That was like,
nobody cares about that.
Yeah, that was like going to
it's boring.
Toledo. So yeah, it's like Lamborghinis and Ferraris
That's right.
and Rolls Royce all over the place.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
But now we're back in the same city, and we're ready to talk about many things that have happened.
The bigliest things.
The bigliest thing, though, Jeff, get us started. The bigliest thing that we have is Trump.
Yeah.
Once again,
Yeah.
we're back on this.
He's now a defendant. Well, he's been a defendant, actually. I take that back. He's now a defendant in a criminal case.
Right.
Yeah.
So this week, there were a couple of milestones that were
Yeah.
achieved in the whole saga, which is he became the first former president to be arraigned, to be indicted and then arraigned, and then essentially arrested so that those processes can go through.
Yeah.
So is the first? I think it's the first one, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's big. Now there are people who, and we can talk about the. I mean, there's 34 counts of falsifying business documents, but there are people who say that just him being arrested and him being now a defendant in a criminal case is gonna bolster essentially his street cred.
Street cred.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, no. There was one video of Marjorie Taylor Greene where she was like,
Jesus Christ.
He now just became part of like a small cabal of people who like in history, like Jesus Christ, Nelson Mandela.
Yes. Maybe MLK.
And then she started saying a bunch. I don't know if it was her or Bobert, but they started saying a bunch of like Elvis Presley, Sinatra, a bunch of like other rock stars. Yeah. And then one of the late night shows guys was like, yeah, they were all like super talented musicians. That's what made them cool.
Yeah.
It was just something else. But what do you think about that? Do you think that bolsters his street cred?
And what?
In the MAGA world?
There's nothing sexy about white collar crime. Like, it's not. I don't know what kind of street cred. I think.
Well, is it sexy in the white collar crime world if you beat the charges?
Well, to his base, I think regardless it is going to be because he's a.
Because he's either a martyr or a hero that defeated all the odds.
Exactly. Well, and they're going to be like, if he does defeat these, they're going to be like, oh, they're still going to see him as like this. These are all bullshit. It's partisan. They made this up to take him down. He's fighting for the people and this shit. Because somehow the MAGA clan still doesn't realize that he's self-interest. Like, that's all he cares about. Self-interested and it's his own, well-being. That's all he gives a shit about. They think that, he's still doing all this for them, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's Jesus Christ, essentially. I don't think it's going to help him, no. It's going to help him with his base, but he doesn't need help with his base.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's a little bit of a poetic irony.
Yeah.
To your point, because if you think about this comment that he made way back when, I think he was either running for president or he had just been elected, where he said, I could just stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and like I would get away with it, essentially.
Yeah.
So
he wouldn't lose any votes, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't lose any votes or something like that. So
I think I believe that.
I didn't believe that either. But then if you think about the poetic irony here, he's been caught several times in different ways, undermining even his own people, like his own bunch of groupies, and they still don't think any less of him.
Yeah, I believe that's true with his base. I do think he could probably just murder somebody on live TV, and I don't think he would lose any votes.
Because they'll be like,
it
was justified because of some dumb bullshit reason.
But he would certainly lose the more reasonable Republicans or the moderates who are voting for him, and I think that's the thing here is I think the charges certainly hurt that. It's hurt the Republicans that are more reasonable, and the moderates. It doesn't hurt his base. I think it helps his base. So it will help him in the primaries, maybe. I think it might help him versus like DeSantis or some shit like that. Rally up people who might have been Trumpers who were like, I'm going to vote for DeSantis, that are now like, we got to support Trump or whatever, maybe. But I don't think it helps him in the general election. So ultimately, I think it's going to hurt him, even though he's trying to. It's going to help him with fundraising. absolutely.
Yeah, that will be, because then you're gonna get those emails, those stupid emails that you get was like friend.
Yeah, yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh my god, the president called me a friend."
Well, they already apparently raised millions and millions of dollars. Right after he got indicted. You know. So.
Well, and the thing is, sure, you are alienating some of the more moderate Republicans and some of the Republicans that are more conservative in the old sense of the word, but you also have like people that you would think would fall in one of those two buckets, like Lindsey Graham.
Yeah,
and he's one of the ones that's like still. I mean, granted, this guy is it's a flip flop. Right. Yeah. All he does is it goes back and forth. Like first, like, hey, he's a pervert. We shouldn't.
January 6th was the worst thing ever. January 6th was nothing.
Like it was nothing, and it's like no, if he's guilty, we should prosecute. And he's like, these are bullshit charges. It's like, dude,
he's
pick
on
a fucking
TV
lane.
crying, asking people to like begging for money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the irony of it all is, again, it's people who this guy doesn't care about, who are going to spend millions, or not themselves, but cumulatively, a bunch of money for whatever bullshit. It can be like, he can say it's like for his legal defense. It could say it's for a fundraiser for whatever. And then it's like the same thing that happened with the whole Save America PAC, where they were trying to say, oh, give us money so we can investigate the election. And that money went nowhere but his pockets. So and people know this, and they still don't care.
Or all those bullshit dinners he used to have when he was running for president, and it was like,
win a dinner with me.
And nobody ever won it. Right? There was like investigations into that. Not a single person actually had dinner with Trump. And of course, nobody he announces the winner. You better believe if he really did that, that shit would have been on live TV.
Oh yeah.
He would have had him. Look, you're having dinner with me. This is what you can do. Mm-hmm. Never once did you see that.
No.
Right. So it's like
it's like
the real thing.
It's like the lottery, but without announcing the winning numbers. Right. So because people are probably like, oh my god, like the chances of me winning a dinner with the president really, really low. So you kind of sit with those expectations. Yeah. But then at least in the lottery, they get the numbers, and you're like, oh yeah, I confirm that I lost. Here it's just like, well, I guess someone else won because I didn't get an email.
Well, and it's like this. The other thing that's funny is they do this, like, sign this card for Trump right after this happened. They've done this shit in the past too, and it's like after you sign,
the president's gonna see it. The first 10 people that
donate money, like ask for money. You think this motherfucker's reading that shit from all these idiots that are sending it in? Hell no.
There was at one point there was an email from like one of his sons, and it was like, do you want me to tell the president that you were one of the patriots?
One of his loyal supporters.
Yeah.
I used to get this shit.
Yeah, do it now, friend, so I can go and tell him that you are one of the patriots that did it.
Yes. Like, he's going to know if you didn't donate. Was he going to murder you?
He's going to be disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, no. Not Master Trump.
Oh, no. John Smith in fucking buttfuck Iowa did not donate $5.
Exactly. It's fucking stupid. But... and then there's all regarding this, and some of it's to an extent, I don't want to say valid, but you could kind of see people like, oh, this is political, this, that, or whatever. And because there's other presidents who broke the law who weren't prosecuted, it's like, well, yeah, that's true. That did happen. Nixon certainly could have been prosecuted criminally. Maybe Clinton, Bill Clinton, to be clear. Yeah. But
what about the emails?
She was not, in fact, president, just in case. But, but yeah, he, obviously, he fucking basically committed a robbery. Yeah. Breaking and entering, stealing shit. They had his people commit a robbery and then covered it up. That 100% is a crime outside of, what he was impeached for. But, so yeah, I mean, you could say that, but the other argument is, well, he should have been prosecuted too. It doesn't take away from what Trump did. Right.
The fact that the other guy wasn't prosecuted doesn't mean that crime shouldn't be prosecuted, period.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Or just because you're president, we should ignore it because, whatever. Mm-hmm. Oh, you lost your job. Well, if they did that for everybody else, it'd be nice. Hey, you lost your job because you got arrested. Well, you know what? We're not worried about anything else. We're good now. It's not how it fucking works.
That was enough punishment.
And they're like, well, we shouldn't do that to presidents. Why the fuck not? Like, you should be held to a higher standard. It's just like police officers when they murder people. Like, they should be prosecuted too. You shouldn't just get away with something. Yeah. If you break the law and you're charged with upholding the law, especially a cop or the fucking president, you should be held to a higher standard.
It's almost like a special relationship. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you are in a special position too.
Exactly. The highest level of authority, you know? And so
this is the chief law enforcement.
Bullshit. Yeah. But it's like, does the New York prosecutor obviously not support Trump? Probably.
Most likely.
But exactly. But does that mean
if the hordes of people that were in New York City protesting his arrest is any indication?
Yes.
Then yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there were like 3 people.
Yeah. Exactly.
And one of them was an impersonator of Trump, so he obviously wanted to get some attention from the media.
Yeah. And but so it's that. It's like, at the end of the day, politics aside, he broke the fucking law. Well, allegedly he broke the fucking law. And so he should be prosecuted.
Yeah.
And it's not a minor. Now, I mean, the 34 counts, again, that's the next thing on that is now they're felonies because of New York law. It was a falsifying business records, which is a misdemeanor, but then he falsified them to commit another crime,
Right.
which now ups it to a felony, right? And so even though it might not look serious, like who cares about that? It's like, well, we should, like this is somebody running for president who's trying to cover up an affair and mislead the entire public about this. And also, according to what the, prosecutor said, now who knows, we'll find out more later. Also sounds like he was committing tax fraud in the process too, and falsifying business records. So multiple crimes that are different in nature, in lying about his assets and all this other shit. Like, why? To me, it blows my mind that people don't care about the president being honest, and also misleading the public who's voting for him.
And the thing is, I've only been paying attention to politics for about a handful of years because when you're young, you don't care, right? You're looking at something else.
It doesn't really impact my life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you feel like that doesn't affect you. But as shitty as politics has always been, to your point, one of those many things that you just mentioned would be enough to disqualify someone because back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Because look at what happened with fucking Wiener.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's any pictures of his, right? So it's like not great.
Yeah.
And then there's the fallout. But the fallout came after a couple of times.
Yeah.
Right? A couple of times him doing it or him getting caught. But these were harmless crimes, right? Not necessarily because there's still. I mean, you should not send an unsolicited dick pic.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be it. But the crime there was cheating. Yeah, and so that was not really a crime. Yeah. So, but it was still bad. It was bad bad even for your public image.
Yeah, any your integrity, things, like to
exactly.
a lot of people.
And then the trust that people can have that you're going to be someone that carries the office, right, with integrity and the respect that it requires. But so any of the different things that you just mentioned that Trump has been caught doing, not even counting the alleged counts. Any of those would have been disqualifying for the highest office in the land, without second thought.
Oh, for sure.
But we've devolved even more than because politics has always been shitty. But we've devolved even more to the point that nobody fucking cares now.
Yeah. Well, it's like
people care, but not enough people care to be like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Well,
like,
before he was even elected, that video came out where he was saying, basically you can rape women.
Grab them by the pussy.
Right? Yeah. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want when you're rich, kind of shit. He was on video saying that, and that would have disqualified anybody else.
Exactly.
But if anything, Trump, it bolstered him. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, I say that, and my friends, like, that's fine. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, for whatever reason, he gets away with,
some of the crazy
nobody
shit.
else would. Yeah. And I think, what I think the reason is? It's because his base are probably, quite frankly, his actual base. Probably do cheat on their wives. Probably don't think it's that bad of a thing, right? Probably like, oh, it's just sex. And so to them, it's like, oh,
to them, it's like, oh my god, that guy's pulling.
Yes,
he pulls, dude. That guy fucks.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's a good thing.
Like,
High
that's
five.
my idol. Yeah,
high five. Yeah. It's like a bunch of freaking dudes that are like date rape and shit. Like
you have guys that cheat on their wives, and then when the wife finds out, it's like, hey, the president does it. And I was like, okay, I guess.
That's probably the defense. But anyway, the point is, it's crazy. It's crazy that that's the climate now.
Yeah.
And the fact that more people aren't concerned about this, and even more, some of the more reasonable Republicans who are like, if you broke the law, it's an issue, but also making it more political where they're like, oh, well, like they didn't prosecute other presidents. Well, who cares? Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, care about that, that's fine. But you should not be like, oh, we're not going to take care of this because we didn't in the past. Like, that's not, you should have done it back then, quite frankly, too, especially Nixon. But anyway, it's crazy. But I mean, he's facing 34 counts, they're all felony counts now. In theory, you could do 134 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
130 or some shit.
But to that point, though, even if he were to be found guilty of some of these, there's like a really, really, really small chance he's gonna see jail
Oh,
time.
he's not.
I don't
I don't
think
think it's
he
going to
will.
happen at all. Even if you're found guilty of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back because I don't know what this. There might be mandatory minimums in New York on federal crime.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Well, this isn't federal though because they charge them to the New York.
No, but
law.
this is not federal.
New York probably doesn't have mandatory
I don't
minimums.
think
New York's
so.
like one of the most liberal states ever. But if it was federal, they have federal guidelines and mandatory minimums. But yeah, I don't think he'll do a day in jail.
Well, then on the other hand, though, this is one of different investigations.
Well, that's it. That's
and
it.
and some of those might rise to the level of a federal crime. So that's a different story.
Yeah.
Because obviously those have not moved forward just yet. The one in Georgia, which the rumor is that there's going to be an indictment coming out soon from that grand jury sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the big thing was like, well, since now New York did it, other people might feel
Right.
Oh, okay, we're not setting
It
precedent.
kind of broke the seal.
Let's go ahead
and
and yeah,
exactly. They feel a
Put
little
it
more
in front of the
comfortable
grand
doing
jury.
it. Yeah, because usually you don't want to be the first one to do it, right? But now, if you get New York or California, which are usually the spearheads of any movement, then you kind of start seeing the other states kind of following suit. So there's the one in Georgia, obviously the one in New York, and then there's at least one potentially federal that might come down the pike, and that is the one that the special prosecutor Jack Smith is
if
investigating.
anything comes of that, which is highly unlikely, but if anything does come of that, that's where you could possibly do jail time.
Yeah.
because
that is for sure federal.
You can't do anything about it. And the crimes that he's accused of being committed are absolutely there's going to be mandatory minimum side of that.
Yeah.
But that's a long shot. But
Yeah.
if it were to happen, that's
Yeah.
not New York white collar crime shit. That's
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
heavy shit. And then, I mean, obviously, we've been seeing, even to this day, the fallout of just January 6th in general, where you have now more and more defendants, some of the people that were involved, getting sentences now.
and these are people who were just strung along.
Yeah.
So if they find that he in fact planned this and encouraged it, absolutely he's going to be doing some time federally.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of shit that's got.
Yeah, a lot of steps have to happen in order for that
not
to
an
even
easy
be
case
like
to prove.
within the realm of possibility. The moral of the story is that there's still some road to cover.
And you also have the archive shit.
Oh, that's
And
right.
that actually made progress.
That's right. The classified documents.
Did you see that?
No.
This is probably a good point to talk about now, because then it's not enough really to do a separate episode on, but I'll just touch on it. But there was an update. Breaking news. No, there was an update that
You heard it here first, a week after it happened, because I still have to edit the video.
That's, so they didn't get into what it was, but the prosecutor claims, and the government, and the prosecutor on behalf of the government, said that they now have new evidence that directly ties Trump to the effort to cover up and hide the documents. So, well, they did say what it was to an extent.
Oh,
So
was that he instructed like someone to take a box to a place that that he wasn't gonna look for documents in?
Well, that was part of it. What he did is he literally emailed his fucking attorneys and said, "What do I got to do to keep these from the government, essentially? Like, so I can keep these, so they don't get a hold of them." He said, "His attorneys." And so,
If you're talking about intent,
yeah,
that's it.
So that is probably going to be easier to prove, and I don't know to what extent, if there's mandatory minimum side of that. I don't think there are, because we were talking about that before. But that sounds like it's going to be a hell of a lot more possible to prove, and that there's going to be an actual charges brought forward now, if that is the case, which I don't think they would lie about that. Yeah. So that's it, right? It always comes down to what's his intent. And that was what we discussed in the previous
And
episode.
we've talked about that before. Exactly. It's like, well, you not only do you have to find that because he obviously committed the crime of violating the statutes that we discussed, but one point that you mentioned was, well, you got to find that there's an intent that he did it for, like, not because he was stupid, but because he wanted to take him and keep him from himself or keep him from the government.
And what makes it even worse, in my opinion, is it sounds like this communication with his attorneys happened after the archives came and got the first set of documents.
So it was like,
So he knew they were already looking into it.
that-
He knew he wasn't supposed to have them, and he was like, "What do I do
to keep these.
allow me to keep these?" And he would do that because he's an idiot, right? He would say some stupid shit. "Hey guys, how do I keep these documents from the government?" Right? So his attorney is not realizing that your attorney-client privilege goes out the window when you're committing a crime.
Trying to commit a crime, yeah.
And so I mean, that's not looking good. That one could potentially, what people are like, "Oh, who cares? It was an accident." Biden did it too. All these other presidents did it. It's like, well, unless they had the same communications.
Same emails to yeah.
And then
That's interesting. I did not know about the email. I heard about
I
somewhere.
could be wrong. Might it be emails? I know it's a communication.
There was some communication that is somewhere in
attorneys.
some record
Yep.
of him asking the question, which evidences that intent.
And which tells me if they weren't direct emails, they got a hold of the attorneys, his own attorneys, told the government, right? Because they didn't want to give fucking.
Well,
charge.
exactly, because I mean, and
So-
this is the where the law-ish piece comes in, right? So people might be wondering, well, if that's the case, is attorney-client privilege? Well, no, there's limits to attorney-client privilege. It is a really strong privilege.
Oh, yeah.
By all means, it survives death in most cases, but
And you could literally say to like your defense attorney, "I murdered somebody."
yeah.
The crime's already done.
And they cannot rat you out.
Yeah.
But the attorney-client privilege, one of the exceptions is when you are going to commit a crime, right? And if anything that your attorney does or any of the legal advice could help you in the commission of that crime, attorney-client privilege doesn't apply.
Yeah. And if you're asking your attorney, like Better Call Saul,
How do I commit
to
this crime?
assist
Yeah.
you in the commission of a crime, then
It's
doesn't
not
count.
going to help you. It's not going to fly.
So they're probably doing it obviously to protect their own ass, which I would as well. But then it goes like, what better witness for the state to have than the person's attorney who has every reason to support them because he's getting paid by them, and to have a good relationship with them. To be like, yeah, he asked me to commit this crime, right? And it was the thing with Cohen, it was a little different because he got arrested.
Yeah.
And there was like, well, he's just
At
doing
that
what
point, he
says
was trying to
reduce
save his own
charge.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly because he was involved in shady shit too. But there's nothing alleging they were involved in this or they helped him do this.
Right.
And so if that's the case, it's like
They
this
were
is a
being
star
proactive,
witness
and they're like,
for
I don't
the-
want to get in deep
Yeah.
shit like this guy did.
That's an amazing way. Like you couldn't ask for a better witness,
Damn.
other than actual emails, right? Which they might have. I can't remember what the article said, but I know there was communications with the lawyers, and they have that evidence of the communication. So, yeah, that's a big win for the government.
Yeah,
because
well-
intent is the hardest thing to prove in it, and that proves both intent, which is the main thing. We already know he had the records, right?
Yeah.
So that's easy enough to prove. He had the records. He wasn't supposed to have them. Now he's going to look declassified. Well, not if you're asking these people, how do you keep this shit, right? You just ratted yourself out on that too. Like that's a slam dunk
That's
for
true.
the state. If assuming obviously what the article said was true, it's
Well, that all that tells us is that there's plenty of road to cover in this saga.
I think New York's the first of several.
It's gonna, there's gonna be more that follow suit. So we'll keep you posted. But now we can move on to the latest and greatest on Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Your idol.
Yeah, I really look up to him. Big G. Big G.
Top G. Top G.
Oh, Top G.
Top G.
See, that's how much of an idol he is to me. I don't know his nickname.
So he was
Arrested.
finally released. We're a little behind. He was finally released from jail to serve now house arrest
Yeah.
because an appellate court
After
in
like 5 extensions.
well, an appellate court in Romania was like, all right, guys, this
let's
is
get
many
out.
exceptions. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, we need to like keep some
Bring something forward or
decorum
like, come on.
in the whole judicial system. So they released him under house arrest. So he's still under arrest and is still under investigation. But there have been a couple of developments ever since he got out. Yeah. The very first one, that when he came out, there was a video circulating of him walking back and forth, just pacing, and then someone was recording a video, and he was like smoking a cigar, just kind of walking around. The comments on that video were hilarious because it's like that guy's still pacing in his cell.
That's what it looks
Is
like.
that muscle memory?
That's what it looks like, yeah. That's what it looks like.
But I thought that video was hilarious. Yeah. Now he claims that he gained muscle mass.
Yeah.
And we're not here to body shame. But who knows?
He gained some sort of mass.
Yeah, he gained some mass.
Some mass was gained.
But yeah, so Jeff, what is next for Andrew Tate?
What do you mean? He's out. What do you mean what's next?
Well, he's not
He's
free.
released.
He's not free. Free.
I don't know because I don't think there hasn't been any updates. They haven't said shit. Well, at least publicly, right?
Right.
So obviously they're presenting something to the judge to keep holding on. Well, at some point, obviously the courts were like, at least the appellate court, whatever they had, it wasn't enough. They're like, look, bring something forward, charge the guy, like actually bring the case forward, or we got to release him at least, in house arrest. Here's the thing. I don't know, in my, they've had him locked up for a while. Mm-hmm. They probably interviewed the people they need to interview. What to the appellate court's point, presumably, what the hell is taking so long?
Yeah.
Either you have a case or you don't. And because you can't just now be like, oh, we're going to release you. They could, But then you're going to look like a bunch of fucking jackasses.
Yeah.
Because you held this guy in prison for
Because then
so
it seems like
long.
you did it just to be petty.
Exactly. And he took his shit, took his car, took his whatever else because they're like, well, we might need this to give to the victim.
his bitches.
And the court allowed it. Yeah.
Wait, what?
So the court allowed that because they're like, okay, yeah, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they're having trouble tracking down some of the victims, or maybe some other people they're hoping to arrest that might be involved to get more testimony. I don't know, but it's like part of me thinks if they do have a case, it's not that strong because they're still looking for more evidence.
Yeah. And the thing that gives me pause is like as you said, as the more time goes by, the more pressure there's got to be to bring something,
Yeah.
and then there needs to be some end result, right, to
Yeah.
what you're doing, and not just keeping them locked up for no reason. And then the what's concerning is time goes by. These guys are still trying to gather that evidence. Obviously, they don't have all the evidence that they want because they keep asking for extensions. Yeah. What if they don't find anything?
Yeah.
Well, then they're just going to end up with egg on their face.
Exactly. And we know they have some evidence because they had talked about, like, some of the stuff that had come out. They'd shown voicemails. Mm-hmm. There's text messages between him and somebody he allegedly raped. Mm-hmm. That sounded pretty damn rapey. You know, of course, the people are like, well, maybe that was just fantasies. And, whatever. And, of course, that might be what his attorneys argue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a whole lot to argue at that
point. And you still probably, like, want to make that argument.
Yeah. Because that's all you really have at that point. Mm-hmm. The shit's out there, right? Mm-hmm. Or doing what his followers were saying. That's not his voice. That was doctored.
Yeah.
I asked this one person who's, you know, an expert who's also a fan of his who said that didn't sound like him, you know? And so you got to come up with some sort of defense, and that's not the worst defense to have because there are people who are into that. So maybe they are trying to find something else. It's obviously they're trying to find something else. That's why it's taking so long. But, like, what that is, I don't know. And I will say right now, it doesn't, if I had to guess, the case seems pretty damn weak. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of public pressure. There's a lot of eyes on this case. Now he's on house arrest. He's not even locked up anymore. So there's even more pressure to find a solution because they're worried about flight risk and he's going to flee. And that is very valid. Mm-hmm. If I were in his shoes, I'd probably be thinking about that too. Even if I was innocent.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck, I want to get the fuck out of Romania.
You don't want to risk there being some sort of reversal and then you having to go back in, especially if you are innocent.
And if you think you're innocent, you're like, oh, I don't trust Romania for whatever reason. I don't know. But either he's got weird rape fantasies and he does play these out with his, you know, people who are consenting apparently, or he's actually raping people and there's human trafficking or whatever. Now, if it
was the former, and this is just the fantasies that they're playing, you know, around dom sub, relationship, right? You would think that then the willing participants were like, no, that's just role play that we do, and I did it consensually and whatnot. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
No,
because to our point earlier in a couple episodes ago, we talked about there was someone who tipped the police to begin with, and said, hey, we think this is going on, or maybe it was a victim, maybe it was someone. So it's just the bottom line being that it's concerning to an extent. That you're keeping this guy locked up for the longest time on charges that are serious charges. But then nothing is panning out just yet. And to your point is, well, do you have a case or do you not? Yeah. And that is what it is.
And I think on that point, as the defense could argue, maybe the person who called was a prostitute, he didn't pay her. Maybe it was somebody that he was having one of these relationships with that got pissed at him or whatever. Mm-hmm. Who knows? There's a million different reasons somebody can make some shit up that was not true. Mm-hmm. And so the defense could say that, obviously it's not great if somebody's accusing you of doing this shit, regardless, combined with the text messages and the voicemails and stuff. But it's not the best case. And so again, that's what makes me wonder. There's something they're either looking for that they believe's out there they want to get just because it's going to make it a slam dunk case, which maybe you could have a really strong case and like, look, we have this one more thing that's going to really just close it for us. We're good, Or they don't have the best case and they're worried about bringing it forward and the embarrassment that would happen if they were to try it and they lose. And they also don't want to come forward and say, hey guys, sorry, we got it wrong. There's not enough evidence here. We're letting them go.
You're just so deep now that
you're gonna hold the guy for like a year and be like, "Yo, by the way, my bad." And no hard feelings, bro.
Here's your Lamborghini. Here's your Bugatti back. Here's your bitches.
I don't know. It's crazy though.
It's gonna be interesting because again, the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So there is just mounting pressure for something to come out. So maybe hopefully we're gonna have some updates for for
Yeah. Either way,
podcast soon.
him getting put on house arrest was a win for him. Not just for the obvious, he's not in jail anymore, prison, but it does show there's a problem with
It lends some credibility to his assertions that he's innocent and that these are bogus charges, and they obviously don't have a case because obviously I'm still here and they haven't presented
Either
it.
they have a weak case or there's this huge problem that's going on. But either way, you don't have we're ready to go for it. It's a great case.
Exactly.
And then you're just holding them indefinitely. I mean, maybe if you're super corrupt, I guess. But
well, I guess that's a good point. And again, we don't know Romanian law.
Who knows?
If you know Romanian law, let us know. But anyways, so then that brings us to our last subject.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. This video is not sponsored by Bud Light.
But it could be.
It could be. Hit our DMs.
Whatever group you're looking for and to promote, I'm here for it. I'll be whatever you need me to be.
That's a little bit of a whore, man. So, no, our next subject, and this is going to be just a quick update. 6ix9ine, dude.
Oh, yeah.
6ix9ine was jumped
Allegedly.
at his gym. Well, I don't think it was allegedly because there's some dumbass decided to record the video.
Convicted. It was
Maybe it was a video generated by AI or
maybe
something.
it's self-defense. Maybe
3 guys against them.
maybe they're like, hey, we know he snitches on people. Maybe he'll snitch on us in the future.
Maybe
so.
maybe they were beating
we were afraid
him
for our
like
lives.
proactively.
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
thinking.
before he actually snitches on me,
That's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna beat him up.
That sounds like a novel legal.
But then that
defense.
kind of sucks because they were recording it, so they snitched on themselves,
and committed another crime.
committing the crime.
And it was a family affair as a father and son.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah, the dad brings the son along so they can both go to prison, I guess. They look the same, too. The same haircut, bald, crazy beard. Looked exactly the
Oh
same.
God. Well, it's funny because I mean, 6ix9ine, at least as far as I'm concerned, have been under the radar for the longest
He's been
time. Ever since
forgotten
he left jail, he recorded a couple of videos. Obviously, when he was out being his flashy self.
Well, he's acting like he was broke because they were
Right.
trying to get money from him.
Right, but then he
Which
would
is a
walk
lie.
around streets
he's full shit.
with like surrounded by people, right? Because he's like, he was obviously for a good reason afraid for his life.
100%.
But then this happens. He's like, oh no, I go to the gym, I go without any security because I want to live like a normal life or whatever. I'm like, dude, a few months ago, I remember reading articles of you walking around random neighborhoods. So maybe obviously that was really costly. So maybe he ran out of money.
I think that's it. Because apparently there's a whole side thing, but it's to do with him. There was a thing on not TMZ news, but some sort of hip hop news on. Apparently he paid some rapper. I don't even know if she's relevant, but somebody on Instagram model rapper chick who had a failing rap career, so now she's just Instagram modeling or whatever, OnlyFans, that kind of stuff. Paid her $40,000 to sleep with her, so he's got some money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, videotaped it. If you got money to throw away like that, he's got cash. But it does beg the question, like, where was your security? Why wasn't anybody there? Because, dude, he's not dead. Like, there's a lot of other people that would have just killed him. And honestly, I'm surprised he's still alive. Because not only did he turn
He got
against...
quite the beatdown.
but it's not that he just ratted against people. He literally turned on the freaking one of the biggest gangs in the world. Like, especially in the U.S. Like, and people kill people all the time for the dumbest crap, right? And this would
For
actually
far less
be,
than that.
So he's already on borrowed time, in my opinion. And but he did get beat up, and these people were clearly doing it for attention, recording it. They're like, "Oh, not in my hood," or whatever the hell they said, "Not in my city." They put it all over Instagram. You don't do that shit unless you're wanting attention. And they're getting the attention, and now they're getting fucking charged and gonna be going to prison together.
I don't think that's the attention they wanted to get.
Yeah,
but-
he already knows there's a bunch of people who want him dead. I mean, other than him getting beat up, it's like, but now y'all going to be in prison. For
There's no way he doesn't start going out again with security.
You have to,
Because
100%.
I mean, it was a pretty gnarly.
I mean, he could have easily gotten stabbed or shot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you can get touched that easily in the gym, somebody could easily kill him. So, and they stopped, obviously, at some point, beating him up because they let him walk away. And that was on camera, too. So it's clear they didn't want to kill him, but it's like somebody else might want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, he's going to need security.
It
for
could have had
sure.
a different outcome for sure.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah.
Oh well. So there's that.
Yep.
What do you think?
So-
Do you think he deserved it? Stay tuned for
never
Jazz response.
encourage I don't feel bad for him because
It's hard to feel bad for him.
Yeah,
Not that we condone at any given point in time that for violence and of any kind.
Yeah,
But it's hard with 6ix9ine. It's hard to feel bad for him because there's not only the snitching, which listen, I don't judge the snitches.
Yeah,
Do your
whatever.
thing. You know, there's self-preservation. But when you're
Unless I'm a
crass
defense
about
attorney.
it, yeah, exactly. When you're
Prosecutor, like, your guys are great.
when you are so crass about it, and then you're almost
Oh,
like
he was obnoxious.
Yeah, exactly. Being obnoxious about it and acting like you don't give a a fuck.
Literally making mocking songs. And
Exactly.
Just being obnoxious.
Well, then
as hell.
you kind of got
Yeah.
shit coming your way.
And like, dude, you already had shit coming your way, and then you got to do that shit just to rub it in. My thing is, though, and the reason I don't feel bad, it's nothing to do with the snitching, whatever. It's like, but it's like you were in a gang, okay? You signed up for this shit, and then yeah, you turned on them, which I don't have an ethics thing like, oh, you snitch, whatever. But I don't feel bad for you. You decided to join a gang, you committed crimes, and then you fucking ratted out the people that were part of your gang.
Yeah.
Like, this is the natural, what was coming from that, and you got out of jail. You got what you wanted, but the flip side of that is now you're going to be a target for the rest of your life. So, and I'm not saying it's good. You got beat up. I wasn't like, oh, this is great. I felt indifferent, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, whatever. Like,
The same way for me, it was like, oh, there's news. Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, it
It wasn't surprising.
it's-
It wasn't.
It's gonna be interesting to see what his next outing is, and,
Yeah.
and how many people he's got with him when it happens, when he's spotted again on the streets. Because, I mean, if I were him, like you said, if he has money to be paying some random OnlyFans star to
40
sleep with
grand.
him,
Yeah.
40 grand, it's not a small penny.
No.
Then you have money to get a couple of guys to at least help you if someone jumps you.
Exactly. And what makes me wonder, too, is that there's going to be people, depending on what happens with these people, right, who are charged. There's like copycats or whatever who are also wanting clout and attention, because it clearly got them the attention. They were all over everything.
Yeah.
Pictures were all over. They shared the video. Now, of course, now they're going to get charged with crimes.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
And found guilty because it's, on video. You recorded it yourself.
The reason we are in where we are right now with 6ix9ine being alive and these people being charged is because they were stupid.
Very
They were recording themselves.
Wait.
But you could have had a situation where it was someone who really wanted to kill him, would jump him, not record it because they're not fucking stupid, kill him, and then go away, and then maybe they wouldn't be in that situation. I'm not saying that that's what should have happened. I'm just saying that could have happened.
Well, and the thing is, these people who did this had no ties to 6ix9ine.
Exactly.
They weren't part of the
They
gang.
were chasing clout.
They were part of a gang, but nothing to do with 6ix9ine.
Yeah. Play stupid games.
Yeah, you want attention? There's your attention. You got it.
There it is.
Right?
To end on that bright note of people going to jail for beating up someone else.
But wait, real quick. What about Hunter Biden's laptop, though?
Oh,
You got on that?
that's gonna have to wait for part 2. Last time I read something about the Hunter Biden laptop.
very nice.
Hunter Biden was suing the repair guy.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything there. Quite frankly, I don't care. Unless Joe Biden was involved in it, I don't care. Like, if he's committing crimes, sure, do whatever you want with him.
Charge him.
Yeah, just like anybody else.
Arrest him.
But why are we so hyper focused on that? Unless it has something to do with Joe Biden, is beyond me.
And that is obviously the difference in this dichotomy, right? It's like when you're talking about Trump and the stupid shit that he does, and then well, what about Hunter Biden?
Yeah.
Well, that's not Joe Biden.
Yeah, he's not fucking president.
Yeah.
Or Hillary Clinton. She's not fucking president.
Exactly.
I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck what she did.
So you got to compare apples to apples. Is
Yeah.
one former president with the current president, did they commit the same types of crimes? No, at least not that we know. Because this guy has a huge rap sheet now that's out in the public, and this guy just seems to be senile.
Well, he's definitely seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Problematic in a different way.
Yeah.
But, it's...
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just the fun within our political
Yeah.
arena.
That's the updates for now.
Yeah. So follow us on TikTok if you don't already. Jeff is going to be posting a bunch of TikToks in the next
every
couple
day.
of weeks.
Yeah.
Every
Keep an eye
day,
out.
3 TikToks a day, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They're going to be the best.
The handle is somewhere on the screen now. But that's it. Any parting words?
Big G.
Top G, bro. Come on. We talked about this. He's going to be so disappointed in you.
I know. I'm sorry, Top G.
He'll send you an email.
Top G, I know you're innocent, man. You look great, by the way, man. Those push-ups really working for you.
All right. We'll see you next time. This was Lodge.